Good morning and welcome once again to my new channel where you and I discuss health. Health, you know, is an important issue, and on this channel you and I will be discussing it because I firmly believe that you want to live long and also in good health. But in today's topic we will discuss about diabetes. What is diabetes and the gene? Is it true that once you have a diabetic gene, you will have diabetes? We will talk about those two topics today, diabetes and the gene. Is it true that when you have a diabetic gene, you will automatically have diabetes? Now, as you know, always remember that all we discuss in this channel are only intended to be informative only. This is not a medical consultation, nor a personalized medical advice. You must know that. For full medical advice, please refer to your general practitioner. Now, let us go back. As you know, there has never been a time such as now where we as human beings must come together as individuals to take our health in our hands. What we eat, the quantity of food we consume, and how we eat have certainly contributed to us being predisposed to develop diabetes, a condition that is at the origin of 3 out of 5 deaths in adults in nowadays. Today's societal systems where we live today encourage the development of diabetes without necessarily realizing. Time has become a rare commodity, so much so that people do not have the time required to prepare their food properly and personally. As a result, my friend, many have now relied on processed food, of which food industry is happy to provide. In doing this, we have allowed our bodies to be exposed to many diseases and illnesses, and consequently have relied on prescribed medication to treat our weakened bodies, forgetting what the father of medicine said: let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. Hypocrites. The 21st century has certainly provided many people with strong opportunity to be exposed to advanced technological innovations such as computer, TV, and mobile phones, which have greatly contributed to development. However, in so doing, many people, both young and old, have become very lazy and inactive, a key ingredient to the present day and future health issues. This has certainly resulted in many people developing obesity and diabetes. Let us go into stats now. The Diabetes UK research reported in February 2020 that more people than ever have diabetes. And unless something drastic is done, more than 5 million people in the UK will become diabetic by 2025, up from 4.7 million of UK population in 2020. A similar research by US Center for Disease Control and Prevention, called CDC, pointed that in the 2018, 32.2 million Americans are classified as diabetic, with another 88 million or 33.9% of US adults pre-diabetic. Similar studies in Africa by Health shows that there are at least 6.5 million known diabetics and possibly up to an equal number who are currently undiagnosed. My friend, this is dangerous. The UK Institute for Health Research found that type 2 diabetes is costing the NHS 23.7 billion per year, and by 2016 there were nearly 3.6 million people diagnosed with diabetes in the UK, and further 1 million estimated to have undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. Now we see that diabetes is a major health issue that you and I must tackle, otherwise we will become part of these statistics. Now let us talk a little bit about the gene. Is it true that when you have a gene, a diabetic gene, automatically finally you will develop diabetes. While many in the medical field have for years made you believe diabetic patients are born with a certain gene which causes diabetes, I believe otherwise and argue that you are not born with any precisely type 2 diabetes. In addition, I believe that no gene can automatically result in diabetes, and diabetes can truly be developed should a person pursue a kind of diet and lifestyle that causes diabetes, even among the healthy people. This is a fact. The ones that are having predisposition to diabetes have diet and lifestyle favorable to the development of the condition. Those are the ones who will first develop it. You must understand that the process is like a gun. You are a gun, and inside the gun there is a bullet, and a gun has a trigger. Unless you press on the trigger, the gun will not come out. Diabetes is the bullet, but you have the power to press or not to press the trigger of the gun in order for the full diabetes to come out. Therefore, if you don't involve yourself, if you don't develop a lifestyle that will lead to diabetes, no matter the gene that you have as a diabetic gene, you will not develop type 2 diabetes. It's only when you pursue a kind of diet and lifestyle that will predispose you to diabetes that eventually, and it doesn't just happen, it will take time for it to happen. Roughly between 10 to 15 years living that style of life and having that diet that will predispose you to diabetes, that is only when you will be able to develop diabetes. Therefore, it is not true that having diabetic gene will automatically lead someone to develop diabetes. No, it's only when you have the diet, you start to practice to consume food, and you develop lifestyle, Western lifestyle, inactive, without exercise, then you will automatically develop diabetes. But without the diet and the lifestyle that predispose to diabetes, my friend, you will not have diabetes. Let this be clear, because you hear people say that, oh, my grandfather have diabetes, my father have diabetes, therefore there is no way I will have diabetes as well. No, if you change your lifestyle, if you change your diet, I can guarantee you that it will be difficult for you to develop diabetes type 2. Now, type 2 diabetes, it is not a disease in reality. Instead, it is a serious hormonal condition that takes between 10 to 15 years to finally show. It is not a disease. I call it dis-ease. The body not at ease. That is disease. But diabetes is a hormonal condition. It's a serious hormonal condition that takes place 10 to 15 years to finally reveal itself to you that here I am. Therefore, should we look at it from this viewpoint, it makes it easier to treat it by tackling the hormone at the basis of this condition. Insulin. This is the hormone that we should tackle. Insulin. Second, the control of this hormone, our body and our lifestyle will be the key, not only in prevention but also in the treatment of this condition. We have to look at the insulin. We have to look at our diet. We have to look at our lifestyle. By having a look at these three things, it will be easier for you and I to prevent diabetes and even to cure this condition. That's why, unfortunately, the so-called treatment employed today focuses mainly on reducing the amount of sugar in the bloodstream, while at the same time ignoring the driving force of insulin, the diet and the lifestyle of the individual. Now, it is important today to define what is diabetes. Diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus, otherwise called diabetes, is a term of several conditions involving how your body turns food into energy. It is defined by persistently high level of glucose that has been consumed and remaining in the bloodstream. When we eat food, when we consume food, it is broken down into its basic component and our body turns it into sugars. primary glucose and sends that to our bloodstream to provide energy to cells in our body. There is an organ in our body called the pancreas. This pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose from your bloodstream and get inside the cell. Glucose is a critically important source of energy for the body's cells. When you have diabetes, it simply means that your body does not use insulin like it should, and excessive glucose remains in the blood. This can cause health problems that may be serious or even life-threatening. Now, there are several types of diabetes. The two most common types are called type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. What is type 1 diabetes mellitus? Type 1 diabetes mellitus is a serious condition where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. Insulin is the hormone that facilitates glucose entering the cells. However, once enough islet cells are destroyed, islet cells are the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin. When a large amount of these cells in the pancreas are destroyed, the body cannot longer more produce sufficient insulin. And without the appropriate level of insulin, glucose cannot enter the body's own cells. As a result, excessive glucose builds up in the blood, causing the cells to starve. This condition is often referred as a juvenile diabetes, as children and young people can be diagnosed with it. Now, let us look at type 2 diabetes mellitus. What is type 2 diabetes mellitus? Type 2 diabetes is also called type 2 diabetes mellitus, an adult onset diabetes. This is the case because it is known to predominantly start in the middle-aged people and even late adulthood. However, it is now known that more and more children and teens are developing this condition. Type 2 diabetes is much more prevalent than type 1 diabetes and is really a different disease. A cross-sectional study in Tanzania in 2019 demonstrated the prevalence with the results showing that women have significant higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes mellitus than men. However, it is important to note that this study is based on a small sample of 146 people. Despite this fact, a study by Zhu et al. Documents clear evidence that type 2 diabetes accounts for over 90% of all diabetes cases, with a prevalence rate of 8.5% in the United States of America. This finding is supported by Saka, who also found that type 2 diabetes accounts for 90 to 95% of those with diabetes. Therefore, diabetes is a disease in which blood sugar levels are above normal. Most of the food we eat is converted into glucose or sugar necessary to provide energy used by our bodies. The pancreas, an organ that lies near the stomach, makes a hormone called insulin to help glucose get into the cell of our bodies. When you have diabetes, my friend, it means your body either does not make sufficient insulin, or in some cases it is known not to effectively use its own insulin as well as it should. Increasingly, type 2 diabetes is being diagnosed in children today and adolescents, driven more so by weight gain and or lack of exercise in children and teenagers. Therefore, in summary, type 2 diabetes happens when one or more of the following occurs. 1. That pancreas produce little insulin. 2. That the pancreas does not produce any insulin. 3. The body does not respond the way it should. to insulin. One of the above leads to high blood sugar and ultimately to diabetes. These are what we should know about diabetes. Therefore, in this video, we saw what diabetes is. We define diabetes as a hormonal condition that will occur in our body with time between 10 and 15 years. We saw the types of diabetes. There are so many types of diabetes, but there are two most common, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. And we found out that type 1 diabetes is when the cells that produce insulin in the pancreas are destroyed, or the majority of them are destroyed. Therefore, the body needs insulin. In that case, a person needs to be injected with insulin in order to live, otherwise that person will die. That is type 1 diabetes. But in type 2, it's a different disease that will come as a result of our diet and lifestyle that you and I will develop. The fact that we don't pay attention to the insulin in our body and the diet and the lifestyle will lead to diabetes. And we found also that in this video that it's not everybody that has diabetic genes that will automatically develop the disease. It's only those that will decide to develop a lifestyle or a diet that will definitely lead them into diabetes. Those are the only people that will automatically get diabetes. Therefore, my friend, knowing what diabetes is, the types of diabetes, and the fact that you and I must control our genes, in the next video, we shall see the cause of them in details. Thank you for joining me in this video. As usual, this is Dr. Manu reminding you that your health will change when you begin to change what is in your plate. Peace. I love you. See you in the next video.